There's a guy in our server who played at buying options. He said, I don't really want to invest the time and effort, and I don't have the time to learn to be a great trader. And he was
Right.
losing. And, you know, the difference between trading and gambling is whether you educate yourself or not. He didn't have time for education. So he flipped to selling options where you set your own risk and you can walk away and it will trade on your behalf. And he 10x'd his money in 4 weeks selling options. So you've got
What?
this. Yeah, it's true. That's a true story. It's a completely true story. Foxify options, still an option. Bitcoin, do I think it's going to be up or down in 15 minutes, an hour, 4 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours, and it creates this dynamic situation where I can actually fund and sell options.
It's
Our
it's
options
very
also
seamless.
auto pays out, by the way, Drew. So
Oh,
you don't have to claim. You'll just get USDC in your wallet.
really?
Yeah. So that
That's
guy who
pretty
10x'd his
crazy.
money, he started off with, he lost a load of money. He said, right, I'm just going to be a maker because I can set my own risk and it's passive. He's got a job to do and, you know, stuff
Yeah.
to take on. And he left $200 and it turned into $2,000. It's a true story.
Man, that's crazy. That's a good testimonial to have. I'd be having him do a testimonial if you already have it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of two sides from a token perspective. You can provide liquidity, which is used on the perpetual side, and that's held in USDC, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and it will earn you more USDC, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. It earns up to 75% of trading fees. So that's for liquidity providers. That's very low risk. On the token side itself, so governance is coming. You can stake the token and earn 50% native, 50% USDC because fees are taken in USDC, and that then provides an intrinsic demand for the token because, for instance, if we took $100,000 in a day of fees in USDC, half of that would be required to buy the Foxify token to distribute the rewards. And as a staker of the token, I would go to the app and I've got USDT and Foxify. So yeah, it's a real utility token.
Those 75% of trading fees that come in, that gets taken, 75% of that. And then am I correct in my assumption that you take that USDC and you buy Foxify tokens with it and then
Correct.
distribute it out in equal proportions to the people that are staking Foxify tokens? Hey, this has to be bought in order for us to be able to give people their portions of the trading fees. We have to actually buy back the token, which can continually either one, keep the token at a stable price, right? Or two, keep the token trending in a good direction, which is up and to the right. So yours is actually a fixed supply. Think of the inflationary token, the dollar. They can literally print that off anytime they want. Think of something that has a fixed supply as gold. There's only so much of this in the world. You cannot recreate it. Once it's all there, it's done. That's all the gold. That's one of the things that I like about Foxify is that you don't have this ability to just mint everything into oblivion. But Tyson Fury, one of the most polarizing figures in the entire world, especially in the boxing world, probably literally the person that everyone knows, is literally partnered with you guys. So read into that whatever you want, guys. Welcome back to another AMA on the Drew Wolfer YouTube channel. I have a very special guest, Danny from Foxify. And I've already done a video on this, so you might know what Foxify is. But if you don't, you're going to want to pay attention to this video. So I'm going to go ahead and do my usual thing. Obviously, if you like content like this, make sure you smash that like button either on your way in or your way out for sure. Make sure you subscribe. Boom, bang on the notification bell. Comment any questions, concerns, or anything that you have in the relevant sections. We will surely relay it to the team. We appreciate it. Now, let's get into all of the bullish stuff and what you actually came here to talk about. So, Danny, I'm going to give you the room. Go ahead, introduce who you are, kind of what you've done to this space, because he's been in this space for a while, and I want you to kind of tell your story, and then we'll get into what Foxify is, what it does, talk about the platform, and then talk about the bullish things that everybody can expect from that platform and as an investor.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Danny, so I'm CEO and founder of Foxify. So Foxify, we'll talk about the platform soon. It's the first of its kind decentralized trading platform, and actually, you know, DeFi is a very innovative space, but there's a lot of copycats, and we wanted to do something very different and quite disruptive as well. So we see quite a big opportunity. My background, well, yeah, I've been around a little bit. Maybe I'm not a 20-year-old developer, so I've worked for a couple of Fortune 500 businesses. I then went from from big corporate, from sort of a 26 billion turnover company into a startup, and grew that up to sort of 100 million valuation, and then moved into Web3. Perfect timing. Launched our first project last year, a week before Terra Luna. And so we only know pain and suffering. But I think that's, it's a great credit to us as a team and a group of people, because we're not quitters, and we're not fair weather players either. So so MDB has had a lot of success. I think we saw sort of 8x returns, sort of a staking in yield generation deflationary token. We love solving problems, and after spending the first year, it was basically like being at school in the industry for the first year. And I remember thinking towards the end of the year, what can we do that's really disruptive, actually, that can really help the industry? And then Foxify was born, because we see it as a way. I think trading is probably the best opportunity for crypto to be brought to the masses. It is the best entry point into the industry for people that are new. And actually, when we look at these centralized trading platforms, they're all geared towards people that already know what chains are, bridging, gas, MetaMask, and we wanted to build something that can really help Web3 move forward as a whole.
100%. So here's the platform if you guys want to go and check it out. It's foxify.trade, and you can just come here, launch the beta, go to see everything that you can do on here, and we'll let Danny kind of explain what it is that you can do on here, but I'm sure that a lot of people can infer exactly what this platform is and what it's used for. And it's very innovative. So I'd like to kind of get into that, but I want to talk about, for the people that don't know what MDB is, right? It's called Make DeFi Better, correct? And I kind of want to just let you touch on that really quick, because that was kind of your introduction to the crypto space. You do have a funny story launching like right before Terra Luna happened. And a lot of projects had that same kind of, rigmarole that happened to them. Wolfer did it. Hydro Whales, they launched when all this stuff was happening. It was just, man, it was a heck of a market back then. But kind of give us a brief overview of what MDB was, and then how that sparked Foxify, because I know people like that origin story, right?
Yeah. So if I go back before MDB, I've been an investor in the space for a few years, not a huge amount of time compared to other people, and I was probably indicative of a lot of people within DeFi who spending probably 3-4 hours of my life on a train every day, and when not doing work on my phone, I'd be messing around on Discord, and with a bit of spare cash and able to speculate on things. And what I could see was this huge opportunity within the industry, and I'm a real optimist, so I see like the potential in something. And I was involved in projects. I say involved, as a token holder or an investor in projects, and I would just see this ridiculously high failure rate, and quite often like really short time frames as well. And I thought, well, that a bit like Foxify itself, it just got me thinking. Okay, well, I see this as a problem. How do you solve this problem? What are the reasons? And we did a lot of research. There was sort of like 3 main reasons. I won't go through all of them now, of why you see protocols fail and why do they fail pretty quickly. And we designed MDB to challenge that, and to be something that is impossible to kill. So we I suppose within the bear market, it's also a very low liquidity, low volume environment, and the way MDB works is it's delivering a process over a period of time, and the more volume going through it, the quicker that process will run, and the less volume, the slower that process. So after being in the industry for a year, and going through that experience of MDB, which is still now alive, thriving, has a fantastic community and team of people behind it. We thought, okay, well, we've got this fund. Why don't we seed invest a utility as something that we think can be really disruptive within the industry? If I'm brutally honest, I think probably just MDB alone probably wasn't drawing on maybe all of my experience, sort of from sort of my career and things. So whereas Foxify really definitely does draw on sort of like lots of my sort of like real life experience as well. So those were kind of the stepping stones, and it's an opportunity for everybody in DeFi. And also, MDB is the angel investor, if you like, the first one through the door. to make the big commitment. So when Foxify succeeds, then MDB is also gonna do very well off the back of it as well.
I like it, man. I like it. I took a similar model where Wolfer was like one of the seed investors for PreSend. So, developed the software and off to the races. So I love it, man. I love people that are actually building in the space, that are actually doing things that matter, rather than
Yeah,
just being like, I'm going to do a tomb fork and then market it for 3 months. And like you said, the life cycles of a lot of the DeFi projects out
yeah.
here are,
And we've
very short.
I think somewhere we've both felt a little bit this in the last year. We both invested in yield nodes, and no disrespect to Steve. Steve is still a very large holder in MDB as well, right? So no
Mhm.
disrespect to him, and it's a difficult space at times. But we've we also then look back, and I think you got to look back and be honest about, okay, well, what's gone well, and MDB had gone very well considering the circumstances. I think even I would say myself, I could do it myself again 100 times, and it'd be hard to recreate it because you always need a little bit of luck, and you get bad luck as well. And when we analyze the things that have gone not so well, to be kind, when we relied on other people, it really hurt us. and
Yep,
and
that's
so, and
my
I'm sure you feel this a bit.
experience.
I'm sure you feel this a bit with PreSend. We're like, well,
Yeah.
why don't we build a business and invest in ourselves? And
Mhm.
yeah, no one could ever, regardless of how it performs, no one could ever come along and question, our commitment or our integrity or any of those things. And that is, 90% of success is made up of those two things, and then the rest comes, with a little bit of luck.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I would much rather take control of like my own, I guess, future. And that's how I've always operated in life, though, because at least if I fail, I can't blame anyone else. I can't say, oh, well, maybe I could have done it another way and done it better. You can't blame anybody, and you just have to accept, like, okay, either the market didn't want this, there was something that just wasn't meant to be on this, and just is what it is. So yeah, I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly, man, because I've seen, all these other people that put their money into places where they're not the ones that are actually managing it, and that's where
Yeah,
it goes horribly wrong. We saw it with Goldbridge. I remember Goldbridge, they like accidentally, all right, I don't know what the true story is, but they like accidentally threw like millions of people's money into what was supposed to be like a gold forex trading bot, like some master trader, which we know the stories on all the master traders now. And then all of a sudden it was in a Ponzi scheme that just got just
yeah.
wrecked. And it was actually featured on CoffeeZilla's channel. That Ponzi scheme was crazy. So,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, bro. Yeah, like it
Yeah,
was it was wild. It was wild. I remember talking about Goldbridge a long time ago, and then somebody was like, "Hey, CoffeeZilla just did a video and Goldbridge was in it." And I was like, "Really?" Because he's done that a
yeah,
couple times. I was talking about Safu, and then he made a video on Brian Legend, and then another one just the other day. It was pretty funny. But yeah, so let's, without further ado, let's get into what Foxify is and what it does, and kind of like, because it is pretty innovative, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people don't necessarily trust like centralized exchanges, having to put in their banking details, having to put in, all of their identity details and stuff like that. And it seems like Foxify kind of helps like bridge that gap almost for people, right?
yeah, absolutely. And as maybe I'll kind of step back and maybe share some of like the thinking and the logic behind it. So if you look at,
Yeah.
if you look at decentralized versus centralized trading just within crypto, the number differential is huge. You're talking 50 times the amount of volume goes through centralized exchanges versus decentralized exchanges. Now, and this is just trading in general within the industry. Now, if you survey traders, which we have done, the number one, doesn't matter if you're a big trader, small trader, the number one concern of traders across the board is the solvency of the platform and the exchange that they're using. That's the number one concern. Now, most people think number two concern is fees. Actually, fees comes in a close third, and number two concern is user experience. Because if you're doing it day in day out, then user experience is a massive part for you. So that fascinated me because because when you look at the volumes in centralized exchanges, and we've gone through we've gone through all of the FTX stuff and seen all of that, but still the volumes are much, much, much higher than in decentralized, even though it solves the number one concern. And really, it's because of that. I think user experience is forgotten. You jump into DeFi platforms, and if you've just come from a CeFi platform where you use your credit card, you on ramped, and off you go, you're at the races, you're trading. You move into this DeFi environment, and now, do you remember, Drew? I have to think really deep back, right? When you were saying to someone, "What do you mean gas? What do you mean gas? What is gas?" And now you
Yeah.
need to bridge. What do you mean I need to bridge? I just want to spend my money, and DeFi
Yep.
makes it really hard. It's very
Yeah, it
easy for
does.
some people to lose their money. It makes it very hard for new people to come in, and our hypothesis is that the reason, despite the fact decentralized trading platforms solve the biggest concern of all traders globally, it's that massive issue of user experience, which is a big barrier to entry, which is why you don't see those volumes. And Foxify on the perps side, so you just shown the options platform, which is now in public beta. Our perps is in private beta at the moment. We're very ambitious. We've got options on one side and we've got perps on the other. And we'll have this user experience which is called OptaTrade, and that will provide this CeFi layer. So I can land on the platform, I can on ramp, I can trade, and it uses advanced blockchain features from ERC 4337, which means that I don't have to bridge, I don't have to worry about gas. I will be charged gas, but it'll be taken off in the background. I don't have to worry about MetaMask and all of those things, and the whole experience would just be much easier to use. So that's on the whole trading experience, and that's really our big strategy. On then the option side, which is our baby, there's 140 perps platforms out there, right, of all different sort of tweaks, and we've got our own cherries on top. Don't get me wrong, we've got our own unique elements that no one else has got, but our options is our baby. Nobody is doing what we're doing with options. And if
No,
you
they're
look at,
not. Yeah, it's
sorry,
pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah,
they're not. I've looked around for it too, because that was like one of my biggest things about like you can do 100x leverage trading. Like I get that. That's kind of like an options contract, right? But what there isn't is the expiration of it, right? With a futures contract, if you're just selling and buying futures, it doesn't have like you're just using leverage, right? It
yeah,
doesn't have that that intrinsic value, which I call it baked in, right? Which is the time value, right? And that's what I
yeah,
liked about options in the regular traditional markets,
yeah,
which is something I used to trade a lot a long time
yeah.
ago before I had all these businesses and way too much, not enough time to do it.
Yeah, but it's interesting when you look at, sorry if this is boring, when you look at the numbers in, if you look at fee take, so on perps versus options within DeFi, it's about 150 times what it is in options. Now, if you go into traditional markets, it's 3 to 1. So what that
Yep.
tells you is that options is massively underrepresented in DeFi. And why is that? And, with the greatest respect, I think, experts would say that perps is a 60% IQ product, and that what
Yep.
that means is that it's inclusive. Almost anybody can work it out and do it, right? And then you
Yep.
move into options. I would I would I would ask anybody to go and look at an options platform, then come and look at Foxify. They use things
Yeah.
called Greeks, and they use a language that I've never even seen before. And it's incredibly difficult. It's just not going to be scalable within this industry. Whereas Foxify options is still an option. Bitcoin, do I think it's going to be up or down in 15 minutes, an hour, 4 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours? And it creates this dynamic situation where I can actually fund and sell options. There's a guy in our
Yep.
server who he'll know. Hopefully, he's seen this. Hopefully, this makes the video. There's a guy in our server who played at buying options. He said, "I don't really want to invest the time and effort, and I don't have the time to learn to be a great trader." And he was
Right.
losing. And the difference between trading and gambling is whether you educate yourself or not. He didn't have time for education, so he flipped to selling options where you set your own risk and you can walk away, and it will trade on your
Mhm.
behalf. And he 10x'd his money in 4 weeks selling options. So you've got
What?
this. Yeah, it's true. That's a true story. That's a completely true story. I look at Bitcoin, nearly 28K.
Yeah. Crazy. Dude, I mean everything's just like it just literally went straight up. It was crazy.
Yeah, so you can see here
ETFs,
on the
man.
left hand side. So
Hmm.
you would be able to say, do you know what? I'm going to put in $100, And I'll say, for instance, you could say now, I don't think Bitcoin's going to keep going up. Yeah. So you
Right.
could
Yeah.
say 1 hour up 0.5%, and you could put in $100 there, and you could put a rate of 2, which would mean you would 2x anyone that wants to buy that option. And if they're right, so i.e., Bitcoin does go up 0.5% in an hour, then you will have to 2x their money, and it will come from your liquidity that you funded the option with.
Okay.
And if the money's locked in escrow, so that no one can back out. Once you've offered the money, it's available, and you can take that back out. But as soon as I come and buy that option, both of our funds are now locked in, and when it expires in an hour, either you're going to take my liquidity as the seller of the option because I was wrong, but if I'm right, then obviously I'm going to take some of your liquidity, Drew. So it allows,
Yeah.
really, in a fairly simple way, anybody to become a market maker. If you don't fancy
It's
being the player,
really,
you can
yeah.
become the house.
Yeah, it's really simple. Like the way that it's set up is very simple. And I think it does a lot in terms of not confusing people. Because just like you were saying, in traditional markets, like this is literally the most simplified way that you could potentially ever worry about trading options. Because most of them in the traditional markets, it's like, hey, you have an expiration date of next Friday, right? You're going to buy this for $2 and you're buying the $28,000 strike price. So as long as it's above and you're buying a call, right? Which means you think it's going to go up. As long as it's above $28,002, then you've made money. And that's a lot of calculations for people to try to
Yeah,
make on the fly, especially when you're like, if it's not like a super long-term position. Like I know a lot of people that trade like S&P and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm taking these SPY and QQQ options out to next year," right? Okay, I get it. That makes sense. You don't have to calculate that on the fly as much. You can be a lot more analytical and calculated in your positions there. Whereas with this, and especially in a market that's pretty erratic, right? Not as hard or not as easy. So I like the fact that you guys make this as pretty seamless and easy as possible. And in that 40 seconds that we were just sharing, I think everyone, almost everyone that's in this market would be able to understand exactly what you just said in a tutorialized walkthrough. Boom, I get it, right? It's
exactly. And
pretty
that's
cool, man.
really Foxify's strategic play is to get us, by adding value through the user experience to get a slice of a big pie that already exists, which is perps, but
Yep.
also with the only platform ever to launch that has both options and perps. No, nobody sue me if that's wrong, but that's as I believe it, not financial advice. But
Yeah.
on the options side, we have a real opportunity to disrupt the space completely, because even top 10 platforms are only doing 25K a day in volume on options at the moment. So, a couple have done well, but nobody has really cracked it in a GMX sort of way on the options side.
Yep.
And we believe that this model, our hypothesis is that this model means that anybody walks through the door can work it out, and maybe they don't want to be the taker, maybe they want to be the market maker and earn passive income by providing liquidity and setting their own risk. If someone wants to take more risk above you, that's fine. Maybe Drew offers you a 2x and I come in and say, you know what, I'll offer you a 3x, and
Yep.
Drew's liquidity won't get touched until I've been exhausted, because Drew's set
Yep.
his own risk. And it will trade on your behalf, by the way, without you being there. So you could come back in a year and just see how
That's
your
what I
option's
like.
doing.
That's what I like. I think that's really cool because I mean, obviously, I would be remiss without saying you make sure you're checking on your investments and things that you're doing. But if you do have a good strategy and it is working, that's a very cool kind of set it and forget it type of deal. Obviously, come back and check it. That way, if you need to adjust the strategy, you can do so.
Yeah.
But I do like that about this. It's
Our
it's
options
very
also
seamless.
pays out, by the way, Drew. So
Oh,
you don't have to claim, you'll just get USDC in your wallet.
really?
Yeah. So that
That's
guy who
pretty
10x'd his
crazy.
money, he started off with, he lost a load of money. He said, right, I'm just going to be a maker because I can set my own risk, and it's
Mhm.
passive. He's got a job to do and,
Yeah.
stuff to take on. And he left $200 and it turned into $2,000. It's a true story.
Man, that's crazy. That's a good testimonial to have. I'd be having him do a testimonial if you already have it. That's
Yeah, I have
crazy,
asked the
dude.
question.
Yeah, definitely. And then you do have there's like kind of there's incentives to this, right? There's not just the platform itself, but there's also incentives in terms of tokens. We know a lot of dexes have tokens, and you guys also have your own token for your P2P network, right?
Yep.
So, what do those tokens actually do? And kind of what do they provide? Because they do have those tokens are incentivized, right? It's not just like, oh, hey, we just randomly created a token because we want to be a meme coin, right? There's a reason and a purpose for your tokens, and it actually helps and rewards people that are trading in terms of bringing fees down and stuff like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of two sides from a token perspective. You can provide liquidity, which is used on the perpetual side, and that's held in USDC, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and it will earn you more USDC, Bitcoin, and Ethereum because it earns
Okay.
up to 75% of trading fees. So that's for liquidity providers. That's very low risk. There's always
Yeah.
some risk, right? It's DeFi, but it's much lower risk. But you're not going to get a 10x in a year. You know, if you saw a plus 40, 50%, you'd be doing very well on that. But it is held in
Yep.
blue chips and stables.
Okay.
On the token side itself, so governance is coming. You can stake the token and earn 50% native, 50% USDC because fees are taken in USDC, and that then provides an intrinsic demand for the token because for instance, if we took $100,000 in a day of fees in USDC, half of that would be required to buy the Foxify token to distribute
Yep.
the rewards. And as a staker of the token, I would go to the app and I've got USDT and Foxify. So yeah, it's a
Okay.
real utility token. One thing we've done that's very unique as well. So there's zero emissions. I won't name names, but there's a perps. They're all basically the same, if I'm honest. But there's one example I saw recently is that a token is 5 timesing its supply over its lifetime. And this is very normal within perpetuals dexes. So ours is fixed
Yeah.
supply, and
Yeah.
50% of the supply the protocol owns, and that is staked, and that is how the protocol keeps the lights on. So there can be
Okay.
no divergence in focus on the token because that is how the business also brings its income in. So you won't see
Yep.
the business doing great and the token looking a bit sorry for itself
Yeah.
because the two are locked in harmony for forever.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I really like about this is that man, we've been in the market for long enough that if anybody that hasn't been in the market for long enough to understand this yet, the inflationary tokens are literally everywhere. You have to make sure, always ask tokenomic questions or go and figure it out for yourself inside of people's white papers and stuff like that. Because I mean, there's countless, I mean, this is what put my channel on the map is all this type of stuff. Countless auto rebasing protocols that were just like, yeah, we mint tokens and then we burn them. And but then we mint them 10x faster than we burn them. And they're like, but it's deflationary. And I'm like, no, it's not. So yours is actually a fixed supply. And there's a big difference. And I want to beat that into the ground for people. There's a big difference in between a fixed supply and an inflationary token that can just be printed. Think of the inflationary token, the dollar. They can literally print that off anytime they want. Think of something that has a fixed supply as gold. There's only so much of this in the world. You cannot recreate it. Once it's all there, it's done. That's all the gold. So I wanted to really beat that into the ground for people because tokenomics matter. And that's one of the things that I like about Foxify is that you don't have this ability to just mint everything into oblivion.
No, no, not at all. Actually, we're creating a squeeze because we're
Yeah.
as a business, what would we, and I can say this on camera, we want all the tokens back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if
Definitely.
our income is coming through that mechanism, as long as it's financially viable to do so, we will just keep accumulating that supply. We don't,
Yep.
we would love nothing more than to be sat here in 5 years and own 99.9% of the supply if people would let us, right? Who,
Yep.
what business wouldn't want to? Because it's not a tokenomics play. The token It's a real utility token, has a legal opinion as well, so it's not a security. And
Yep.
yeah, so not only is it fixed supply, but we're coming for that supply as well. We want it all back.
Yep, exactly. And I like that. I like that you did get a legal opinion on it, and that you actually have, like, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? We have absolutely no idea. We see, Grayscale literally, we're filming this on Tuesday and this will drop on Thursday, but Grayscale literally got a ruling overturned by or from the SEC. They went into a district court, I believe, and it was like a 3 or 4 judge court. They ruled, hey, you guys can probably pivot your trust into a spot ETF. Great news, right? So, and then we see Ripple, same thing. Like, they're getting these opinions that are differing from judges than they are from the SEC. So having that already set in place where it's like, hey, that's you just CYA covering your butt, right? Saying, hey, look, we've already looked into this. If you guys ever change the regulations or can classify us, we're more than happy to comply. This is how it is for right now. And we have the legal backing to state that we have looked into this. And I think that's huge. I want to ask this question really quick. Are you guys partnered with tysonfury?
Yes, yeah, we are
Dude,
partnered with
that's
tysonfury.
nuts.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so cool. So that's another thing that can be said about Foxify is that whenever you're looking at projects, right? And this is just kind of for the viewers. When you're looking at projects, understand first off the team behind it. Second off, understand what their background is, right? And then third off, understand who's talking about this, who's putting their name behind this besides the team members, right? Who's talking about this influencer wise? Who are the famous people in the world that are like, hey, I'm part of this, right? And understand that most of those people aren't going to take a chance on something that could blow up in their face, right? So that's another thing that I really liked about Foxify that I thought was crazy, because you guys are based out of the UK anyways, but Tyson Fury, one of the most polarizing figures in the entire world, especially in the boxing world, probably literally the person that everyone knows, is literally partnered with you guys. So
Yeah.
read into that for whatever you want, guys, but I'm just saying you have to look into these things, right? Um,
Yeah.
and then as far as the trading fees, right? Do the trading fees only come in? You said that they come in via USDC. Do people always also pay their trading fees in like Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it is that they're trading, or is it just USDC?
No, it's all USDC from a compliance point of view as well. It makes our lives easier. So we're actually
100%.
registered sort of in Britain, in the British Virgin Islands.
Yep.
So we're an offshore company. The UK isn't a very crypto friendly place, despite some of
Yeah.
the stories that they put out. So we sit in this very nice niche where you're not actually trading the asset on the platform. So
Mhm.
it's not officially classified as an exchange. Um,
Yep.
and you
You're just like linking two parties. Drew wants
exactly.
Bitcoin. Danny has Bitcoin. Here you go.
Yeah. It's a smart contract service that
Yeah.
facilitates Drew and I to disagree on where Bitcoin's going to be in 4 hours. And the only token that actually moves through the system is USDC, which is owned by Circle and that is also a regulated asset. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
we very, very clean from a compliance perspective.
One tidbit I do want to add about USDC, if this even just further kind of iterates your point, right? So, from a regulatory and an SEC standpoint, there is a stance that has been made by the SEC that they are okay. And I know this for a fact because I'm literally doing this, and I'm sure you know this for a fact, right? But they're recognizing the SEC, they are recognizing USDC on either Polygon or Ethereum as a means of exchange, and they're saying that is perfectly fine and it is not a security, and people are okay using this as a medium of exchange, and people can actually invest in projects. You can do that with our projects in regulated crowdfunding, whatever it may be, via USDC in Polygon and Ethereum. So just so that everybody knows, I don't know if that further iterates the point as to why USDC is being utilized, but there's a real reason for it. It's not just shooting from the hip here, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we don't have to worry then if Actually, one of the great things that we're very early in our journey right now, but Foxify is extremely scalable. We can list
Yep.
anything, and we're also developing custom oracles, which would allow us to even list something that launched 5 minutes ago by tracking the price on a deck. So,
Yep.
but it's a synthetic environment, so we don't need to worry about whether it's going to be deemed as security in the future, because our only concern is the USDC.
100%. And then I kind of want to touch on this point really quick, because we kind of went over it, but I want to kind of beat it into the ground for people so that they understand, the opportunity, not only just from a platform perspective, but from a, hey, hold the token perspective, right? So it is a non-inflationary token, right? So we know that there's a fixed supply of Foxify. But here's the thing about Foxify. If you're holding the token, you can stake it, correct?
Yep.
So first and foremost, you can stake it. Second off, you can get discounts on your fees, right? Your trading fees.
If you can buy one of the NFTs on the open market, you can get discounts.
Okay,
But
it's
there
the
is an
NFTs
affiliate. There
then.
is also an affiliate there. Anybody
Yeah.
can become an affiliate actually, and earn
Okay.
10% off of trading fees for their referees, and no, sorry, 10% for themselves, for the referrer, and 5%
Yep.
for the referee. Or if you've got a big audience, if you're an influencer or content creator, that can go up to 25% plus 5% for your referee.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense actually, kind of tearing it up for people. Because
Yep.
Tom that mows his lawn every Tuesday down the road isn't going to have as much reach as, say a Tyson Fury, right?
Yeah.
So that makes 110% total sense. But from a just a tokenomics perspective, holding on to the Foxify token, those 75% of trading fees that come in, that gets taken, 75% of that. And then am I correct in my assumption that you take that USDC and you buy Foxify tokens with it and then
Correct.
distribute it out in equal proportions to the people that
Correct.
are staking Foxify token?
Yes, a big chunk of it, because remember, there's two. Sorry, it is a little bit complex because you've got
Mhm.
options, and there's no LP fees and options because there is no
Yep.
liquidity pool. So the fees just come into the main pot, and then
Yep.
on the perp side, it pays liquidity providers first, and then everything else that's left goes with the options fees into the main pot. After affiliates are paid, then it all goes to the staking pool. But you're absolutely right. If there was $100,000 moving from that main pool to the staking pool, then half of that needs to buy Foxify to distribute out to the stakers of the token. So there's almost like
Okay.
this engine room underneath it,
Yeah.
where the protocol needs to acquire its own supply systematically to distribute it to stakers.
Yeah, yeah, that's the good news for people that are holding Foxify, right? Because there's almost like it's almost like a baked in like, hey, this has to be bought in order for us to be able to give people their portions of the trading fees. We have to actually buy back the token, which can continually either one, keep the token at a stable price, right? Or two, keep the token trending in a good direction, which is up and to the right.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's also maybe something else to share. Sorry, apologies, it's just not the
Yeah.
table. There's also maybe something else to share as well. So look, this is DeFi. We have to be honest, right? If you if you run a pre-sale, you can get a lot of traffic with short-term thinkers, and that's the game in DeFi. And we're thinking very long-term with this. So our private investors are vested, the team is vested, even our pre-sale is vesting over 4 months. So it would be 30% on
Okay.
launch, and then the remaining 70% will be vested after the first month over the next 3 months. So it'll be total
Mhm.
100% over 4 months. So when you're, also the way we've designed it is so that if you're putting your faith in the token, the business is putting its faith in it. If the token doesn't generate income, then the business isn't generating income. So our destinies are aligned. And
Yeah.
also, what you're not going to be doing is coming in on the pre-sale, getting 30% vested out, and somebody's there that can just dump a load of it. Absolutely everybody is vested.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what happens all the time, literally. So you're literally stopping that from happening because we see that all the time in a lot of these projects. I won't name any names. I could probably I could probably name 10 right off the top of my head that I literally saw this happen in, where the token comes out and then it's just a straight red candle, man. And then everybody gets screwed. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's good news for everybody that's investing. So where is it at in terms of, pre-sale? Where are you guys? What's your roadmap looking like, right? Not only for just the token, but for the platform in and of itself, because I know that your main focus is platform development. That's your bread and butter right there. The token is a facilitator of that, but the bread and butter is going to be the platform. So where are
Yeah.
you going to be at in terms of roadmap? And just kind of let's explain that to everybody.
Yeah, we really wanted to be product first, right? Because we wanted to set out our stall so people could see where our focus is. So our options has been in live beta actually since June, so anybody can use it today. Our perps has been in private beta for the last couple of weeks and should be close to public by the time this video comes out. And then through September we'll be adding sort of our advanced features. So we'll be adding additional features to the trading platform, and we'll be adding things like OptaTrade, which provides sort of that seamless user experience. So that's what September will be doing on the platform side. And then we've got lots of other plans. We can talk for hours about how we're going to scale listings on the platform. At the moment, we've just got blue chips, and we've got this opportunity to add sort of 20 pairs on the perp side and add absolutely anything really that we want to on the option side. So super busy on that side. And we also have sort of a cross-chain ambition with some details to drop in the next couple of weeks. On the token side, so we haven't actually announced it. So I think this can be the first place that it's publicly announced, if you like. So
Cool.
token pre-sale is going to be on the 21st of September, and the launch of the token will be on 29th of September. We're already confirmed to be, we've already got an agreement with Bitmart to list on Bitmart, and we're at the end of negotiations with an even bigger exchange. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that, than Bitmart. So we'll be listed on central exchanges as well from day one on the 29th, pre-sale on the 21st. Like I say, absolutely everyone is vested. If you're on pre-sale, you will get 30% on drop and the other 70% over 4 months, linear vesting. But it'll also be earning for you in that time. So it's going to be earning you Foxify tokens and USDC. And our hard cap is going to be relatively low, considering the size of our project and all of the investment and fanfare that we're making. We're going to be, apologies if you can hear this ice cream van in the background. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barely. I have one that comes by my house literally 4 times a day, dude. Super annoying. I live in Miami though, so like they're always trying to give people ice cream.
Yeah, no, he just waits until my office light goes on so he can do that. But the just on the pre-sale, I think most people would be quite surprised to hear that our hard cap is around 1.1 million. We're not going to go any higher than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang, dude. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't see that being an issue at all. Like, to be honest with you, I see it kind of just going. It's going to be like, it's
Yeah.
almost, you know?
I think in the industry, I think you will get how many people go into a pre-sale just thinking I'm just going to flip this, and so that's why
Yeah.
we've gone with the strategy that everyone has to be vested. So you haven't got to be looking
Yeah.
at the person next to you thinking, are they just here to dump on me? And
Yeah.
everybody gets 30% on launch. So some people want to do that, but we would expect, we would hope that hard cap fills up super fast, and then there's plenty of demand on the launch as well. So.
I mean, I've been involved in some sales, man. Done a couple of raises myself, doing a couple of more, and I just don't see that being an issue for you guys. Like, I think it's going to go extremely well for you. That's just my bias because I think you actually have something that's real here. I think people are starting to get more in tune with, hey, I should be investing in businesses instead of these like meme coins and all this weird stuff that has been basically, in my opinion, plaguing crypto. So
Yeah.
I honestly see you guys selling that thing out
I'm
relatively quickly.
I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a Drew Wolfer fan, and I often watch your videos because you're saying what I'd love to say.
Yeah.
Quite often,
Dude,
you're just calling it out as I would love to say
yeah.
it. If you want to come in, like Drew says, come into our server and ask for our certificate of incorporation, ask for our legal opinion, ask for the LinkedIn profiles of the team that supposedly has got all of this experience. Somebody doesn't want to tell you that. There's a reason.
100%, man. 100%. Anybody that's watched my channel for long enough knows that. Like, they know that stuff. So they're gonna come in and they're gonna ask those questions, hopefully, or they're just gonna wait until I ask the questions and then watch the video, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, this is like, I actually enjoy doing this, and that's why I started opening up the AMAs, not necessarily just for, because there's other projects. Like, I know a lot of people were like, hey, you don't ever give these projects a fair shake, right? And I'm like, do I have to? It's my platform, so I can do whatever I want. But I was like, you know what? That's right. I'll give them a fair shake. And I've given projects like that, like just terrible projects, given them plenty of chances to just say, hey, come in and refute anything that I've said. Come in and state your piece and your opinion. And they don't take me up on my offer. That's for sure. But then
It's
I
interesting.
also open these AMA. Yeah, but
Maybe
it
me,
makes
me and you
sense.
should do a Shark Tank, Drew. We should team up and
I'm
do a
down.
Shark Tank. It'd be fun.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that because we're doing the Wolfer CF thing, right? And so once the Wolfer CF ends, right? Ours is a little bit higher than yours. We're going for a 2.5 mil cap. But what I was wanting to do was, because Wolfer kind of kicked off this, hey, and so did MDB, right? Hey, let's invest in these, companies, or start these other companies that can bring utility, right? Yours is a P2P platform. Ours is, a software company, PreSend, right? And I was like, imagine if I could have 10 presends, right? So I was like, maybe we do something and I call it the Wolf's Den, right? Or something like that. And we let projects come in and it's a pitch competition. And we say, hey, pitches, dude, I'm down for it. If you want to do it, I'm down. I think it would be really cool. I think that, with the community power that you have, and then the community power that we have over here as well, and we combine those, I think it would be a hit.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. I'd love to be involved in something like that. Obviously, I've got a bit of business experience, but you're a great content creator. I'm not a content creator by a
Yeah.
million miles. So it'd be great. I do want to do a quick quiz with you before we go, Drew. I know it's your show,
Yeah.
right? Because we talked
Yeah.
about tokenomics and we talked about vesting. Our FTV at launch, remember that over 50% of that FTV is held by the platform, so the platform can make an income, right?
Yep.
Our FTV at launch is 9.5 million. What percentage on launch day do you think will be circulating?
Launch day is September 29th, right? After the 21st.
Yeah, so what percentage of our supply? It's not a trick question, it's just a bit of fun.
Your percentage of supply, or you're saying to everyone that
The
invested?
total percentage of supply that will be available to sell
30,
on launch
30,
day? 5.
30%. 5?
5%.
Because you guys own a bunch of it.
And everybody's vested. Everybody is
Yeah.
vested. If
But
you
I
don't
thought
like it,
everybody,
it's
I
not for
thought
you.
that from day one, 30% of people's
Only 30% are
unlocked.
pre-sale. All the
Right.
private investors,
Oh, you're
all
saying,
linear vested. All linear
dude,
vested
that's
is
wild.
only pre-salers get the 30% drop. After
Wow.
1 month, what percentage? So it's 5% on day one after 1 month.
Should be 7.5.
Oh, look at man, that is brilliant. It's around 7%. Yeah, it's around 7%.
Yeah.
And after 1 year, less than 40% still is going to be circulating.
Ooh, dude, so that's the bullish stuff that investors need to talk about. Those are that need to they need to hear that stuff, because it's like, this is the things that, everybody's like, oh, how do I not get rugged? How do I not get dumped on? This is how. These tokenomics, it's literal economics inside of digital tokens. That's your sign, that's your answer right there. That's great, man. I know people are going to love that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that is like, that you feel like we haven't touched on, that is bullish, or, whatever, just anything else that you want to say to people?
It's always difficult. Put me on the spot. Look, I think I think one thing I would always look at is look at the people behind the project and look at their
Yep.
staying power. And this industry is really short periods of good times when a few people make a lot of money, and then long periods of difficult times and there's lots of people that turn up when times are good, and they will
Yeah.
soon slope off as soon as times are difficult. And we've got huge staying power, and we're always working like super hard, always trying to innovate, and we really want to change the space. So hopefully people can see the level of ambition that we've got so far, and even when I'm looking now at the sheer sort of ambition we've had in terms of the product and how far we've gone with that. Hopefully people can see, we're a team that delivers on our promises.
Yeah, that would be my bias. So if there was one thing that I would want people to take from this, not only just for the revolutionary kind of like transition that you've taken, peer-to-peer trading and like almost like dexes, is they've been here. Okay. They've not gone. They didn't just pop up yesterday either. These are people that have been in the DeFi, in the blockchain markets for quite a while. As long as I've been basically on YouTube, I've heard MDB. Okay. I know that for a fact. So, with that said, I would second and I would iterate the exact same thing. Look at the teams, understand who they are, understand where they've been, understand where you can see them going. And if they have the staying power in order to do that, I would agree. So, with that being said, we appreciate everybody for showing up. Foxify community, thank you for coming over to the Drew Wolfer YouTube channel. We appreciate that. And obviously, Wolfpack, we appreciate you showing up for Foxify and hearing what Danny had to say. With that being said, obviously, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Boom! Bang on the notification bell. Comment anything that you want in the relevant sections. Get into the Foxify Discord. Go follow them on Twitter. Check out their perps whenever they come out. And obviously, go check out the options. I'm going to do the same. We will see you in the next video. Have a good day, everyone.